Y'all, this quarter has left me absolutely beat. Just these past 3 months alone, we have grown from 15 million in ARR to 25 million in ARR. Like, we're talking adding 20,000 customers over the course of just 3 months. And so I figured, why not catch you guys up on the journey the last few months? It's been an absolutely wild ride where we've had definitely a ton of highlights, like just stuff that I'm so proud of, but then also a ton of struggles, which is why I'm so tired right now. Like, dealing with hypergrowth is just so much. And so I figured I could give y'all all of my lessons learned these last few months so that hopefully you have a quarter that's as financially successful as ours has been this quarter, but you end up a little bit less tired than me. So pulling up our financials here, just as a benchmark to remind you guys, we ended last year at $14.7 million in ARR. And so when you think about our customer base, there are a bunch of entrepreneurs who are looking to start their business and change their lives for the better. And so you can think about the whole new year, new me trend being really, really big for our business, where we get a huge bump right into the new year. And so we were already expecting a huge bump this January, but I don't think we expected to have 11,809 new customers sign up in just January alone, where, just for context, a year ago, we didn't even have like 5,000 total customers in general. Like, it's just like the scale at which we're operating at now is just like mind-boggling to me now and to the team, where we're like, holy crap, like 11,000 human beings are coming in, like we gotta take really good care of them. And so it's added a ton of stress on our business. But ultimately what you see here, we've basically grown month over month, somewhere in that 20% range every single month in our ARR. And the good news actually in that is both our trial conversion percentage, so how many people actually convert off of their free 14-day trial, as well as our retention rate has basically stayed the same despite us almost 2xing our customer base over time, which gives me a little bit of a breather, because if you think about it, you know you have a system that at least kind of works, where when you're adding more capacity, that system doesn't break down and the metrics don't degrade over time. And the thing that I'm actually most proud of within all of this growth is we've actually done so profitably, rather than being the typical startup that has to burn a ton of cash in order to get this kind of growth. But the question you're probably asking right now is, how have we grown so fast? Like, we are growing at a breakneck pace. Like, almost, I tell the team, like, we're almost growing too fast. Like, we need to slow things down. And here's the thing is, like, I was trying to figure out how to break down exactly how we've grown for y'all in a really nice, succinct way. But the real answer is kind of unsexy, which is just, we've worked super, super hard for years now, planting seeds, basically throwing things into the void and getting absolutely no like response whatsoever, or just a flat out rejection. But to the point where we figured out how to compound over years of iteration cycles, how to actually get our organic viral flywheel going. Basically what I mean by that is, this quarter looks like an overnight success, right? But if you break down these numbers of how we're adding 11,000 new customers in a single month, and then 14,000 and 16,000 in following months here, you want to break down where exactly those customers came from. And this is the thing that I'm most proud about our business, is that all of those people are actually coming into Stan through organic word of mouth. And that doesn't just come from building an incredible product, which of course is the baseline or foundation for any organic word of mouth. Like, you have to build something that people really want to use and then therefore talk about. But it comes from also, on top of that, being super, super intentional about channeling that organic word of mouth in a way that's actually effective for your business. And what I mean by that is basically, like, pulling up some of our social media comments here, like, they make me feel so happy. Like, folks are actually posting like, holy crap, Stan actually helped me pay for my wedding and my honeymoon. Stan has like absolutely changed my life. Like, the income we're helping people make to actually work for themselves, pay for their family, put food on the table. Like, we've worked so hard to build a platform that can actually help you do that, that people then, because it's been so momentous for them in terms of joining Stan on our journey, like they're sharing the news about that. And it just like, it creates such a feel-good feeling of like, holy crap, we're changing people's lives. They're sharing the news with other people, and then that is creating an adoption flywheel. And so when you see these crazy growth numbers, I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, I can't do that myself one day. Because where you're catching us at is 3 years into investing into this flywheel that clearly right now is just absolutely ripping. So point being for you, I want you to remember that like 3 years ago, it was literally just me alone in my dorm room, like cold calling, begging people to use Stan. And since then, we've worked super hard every single day, woken up and like iterated and tried to improve ourselves every single day, our product, our service, and all of that over time, over years of hard work and persisting, is what's leading to this overnight success now. But here's the thing you wouldn't actually realize looking at these numbers. I mentioned before, we added 11,000 customers in just the month of January. We had added 16,000 this last month. Like, that is 16,000 human beings who we need to do our very best to support and actually help them also in their journey as well. So just think about, like, that is like the population of a small town, like a middle-sized town coming in and asking for help. And so I want to show you guys this chart here that compares how many active customers we had last year when we were still scrambling trying to make it versus this year now where our flight was just like ripping through the ceiling. Where if you see here, we didn't even have 5,000 active customers last year, and now we have 10 times that amount. We're generating more views on all of our stand stores out there, so our customers are driving more traffic than they were before. And we're generating literally millions of dollars on behalf of our customers, which is super awesome, but it's also a ton of transaction volume. And this chart makes me super proud in isolation, but I want you to think about the back-end implications of all of this growth on an organization of human beings trying to run a company. Where basically, if you imagine Stan as some sort of funnel or pipe that we're used to putting people through in order to create an outcome on the other side of that pipe, given like the sheer volume and scale that we've had the last year as our organic flywheels picked up, has just absolutely broken. And so basically, I had this realization a couple weeks ago, and I sat the team down during our all hands. I'll pull up some of the slides we had, where I think a lot about two different quotes that make building a startup really, really hard during the scaling stage. Number one is, what got you here won't get you there. And then number two is, businesses scale exponentially, but humans scale linearly. And the reason those two things are relevant is if I pull back up this chart here around just giving perspective of how much we've grown, like literally here on this revenue chart that I laid out for the team, we've 10x'd in just a year, which is like insane. What I point out to the team is we're still basically the same size team at this revenue scale versus when we were just $2 million in ARR, which in and of itself isn't necessarily an issue if you're figuring out how to scale. But the issue is we're still operating, I think, mindset-wise, as if we're still this small company here versus waking up to the realization we are now a $25 million ARR company. Like, that's a real business. And so one way that I've helped the team get perspective on like, holy crap, we're doing the things that used to serve us but no longer serve us, are now breaking at the seams, is I've told them, hey guys, we actually have to fire ourselves out of our old jobs and promote ourselves to an entirely new job. Where if I bring back that pipe analogy, basically, I made some slides on this too. There's the support team there looking cute. Is before, we had all these customers coming in, they were super happy, like this guy meme. But then now that we've added all of these people that are coming in through that same system that we kind of built, that pipe has like absolutely exploded. And so for example, you can imagine with all of these people coming in to try to use your product, you're gonna have a ton of new support inbound, where I'll actually pull up a chart here that plots our support ticket inbound over the last few months, where it's just grown dramatically, although our team has literally stayed the same size. And that's created so much stress on us as a team, because we're constantly every single night trying to get to inbox 0, but there's just so many tickets in here that we feel like we're firefighting. And the issue with that mentality oftentimes, when it prolongs for too long, is that you're playing a short-term game. And so instead, in these moments where your systems are breaking due to scale, it actually requires you to lift yourself out of the situation, like take a breath and like survey the scene and be like, I wonder how I could scale this system to serve all of these new needs, where I actually plotted out a mental model for folks of like, let's say you're firefighting with all of these inbox tickets hitting you, you're getting super stressed. What you need to do is instead say, oh my gosh, there are all these different house fires out. I could work my butt off putting out the fire at that house every single night. Or if I really want to serve this, I have to do two things to improve the system, which is one, hire more firefighters. Then two, think about how can I actually scale my potential to put out fires, aka let's go build some fire trucks. And so essentially the growth mindset we're having to go through as a company, as a team, is in adding all of these new customers here, we have to evolve ourselves as not just doers and hardworking individual contributors, but into systems builders. And ultimately, if we're able to build these systems that allows us to triage all of the things that are popping up, we'll get to be the firefighters who get to shoot the sexy fireman's calendar. Because the good news is if you start to evolve yourself, and I can already see us doing this now that we've brought this out in the open, we're thinking about it, is that then leaves room for you to really focus on crushing it as a team and having really wonderful moments together. And to talk about wins now, I had a really cool moment the other day during an interview where one of our candidates actually just asked me a question of like, what is your favorite part about Stan? And I realized I was like such a lucky kid for this, but I had like 15 different things pop up in my head, like, oh my gosh, I actually kind of like my job. But there was clearly one that just stood out above all the rest, which was just by far the people at Stan. Because when I think about all the time we spend together working in our lives, right? Like if you plot the amount of time you spend with your family versus at work and the people you work with, it's actually kind of wild how much more time you spend with the people you work with than like anyone else in your life. It becomes really, really clear that you really want to love where you work, and that's something we try really, really hard to do here at Stan. And so when I think back to all of these wonderful memories we've created just this quarter alone, whether it's us going skiing in Whistler for a week, or just like a regular workday in the office where we're all just shooting the shit and having fun, there's just something so special about the team that we've built here and the culture we built here at Stan that I'm really, really, really proud of, especially because I later heard from that interview candidate that she asked that question to everyone else that she interviewed with, and they all actually had the same answer, which is that they loved the people at Stan. And I think a really good example of us trying to balance working super hard with also having fun here at Stan is Lo, our social media manager, actually approached me a couple months ago. She was like, hey John, I have this really funny idea, but I need $4,000 for it. And I was like, okay, Lo, like pitch me on what it is. She was like, basically, I have this idea to get a really geeky and cheesy mascot. And so it finally came in, and Lo's trying it on for the very first time, and she's just being absurd. Austin and Alexa are helping her put it on. They're just like trying to like get her into this crazy cheesy mascot. And then lo and behold, she puts it on. She's like, John, I have a video idea for us. And so this video of us just cheesily in the mascot, where she drops the mascot at the end of the video here, has already hit 200K views in just the last week. And so amidst all the fun we're having, as well as all of the painful struggles and stresses we're having of learning how to scale, us as a team, we've been really asking ourselves, like, what's ahead for our future here at Stan? And I'm actually feeling pretty hopeful about the future success of our company, where in the short term, I've set investor expectations to be much, much lower. Like I don't think going forward we'll grow anywhere near as fast as the last 3 months, because seasonally speaking, people aren't starting as many businesses in the summer vacation years or even at the end of the year. But long term, it's just really occurring to me how large this business could be. Where Vitaly actually visited me from Toronto last week, and we were on a hike and we were talking about what are all the conditions that lead to a multi-billion-dollar outcome. Number one is you have a product that really, really clearly serves a market need, a market pain point, which for us, we've worked super hard to build the simplest and easiest way for anyone out there to start their own business online through social media. And that compounds with factor number two, which is we are in a massive growing market, where one of the reasons why we've seen the financial success we're seeing today isn't actually specific to Stan, but more so speaks towards just the growing volume of the macro conditions where people are realizing like, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to slog away at a 9 to 5 at a corporate job I don't like, but instead like, whatever kind of online business I want to run, if I want to go be a solopreneur and actually build something out of my own passion, like I can actually do that nowadays with the support and infrastructure that's out there to like learn everything for free on YouTube, and then use a tool like Stan, which then brings you to the last factor, which is really company specific, which is we're getting super, super clear on, yes, we have a great product and there's a great market that we're going to go after and serve, but who are we as people and how do we actually execute to make this dream come true? And that sounds really abstract, but basically what I mean by that is we've gotten super, super clear on what our values are as people here at Stan. Because when you take something that's as small and raw as a small person startup and you try to turn it into a full-blown billion-dollar company, you have to have core principles of what you care about, like what are the values you look for in your hires, which for us is you're incredibly hardworking and you're also a good, kind person. And on top of that, you have to set standards for, as you scale your service, what are the things that actually matter to you, which for us is incredible client service. And so as I think about having the raw ingredients that are right for a potential multi-billion-dollar outcome, like there are a million things that could derail us at this point, but I really, really feel like we have a fighting shot. And so with all that being said, I actually really wanted to end this video with a deep, heartfelt thank you, where I was thinking about filming this video the other day, and I just had this deep sense of gratitude well up inside me because I was like, holy crap, like, how lucky am I to get to share this journey, which is otherwise so lonely for people. So I just want to say thank you for being here this early in the journey, where like one day, I really hope that we are successful enough and work hard enough where like out in the future, you can be like, holy shit, I was there when Stan was a tiny thing, now Stan's a huge thing. Because I really think we have the potential to build something incredibly big. And so with all that being said, I just want to say thank you for being here this early in the journey, and I really appreciate the support.